In my culture, we consider the number 13 to be unlucky. I know it's not the same in all cultures. But my dear, very dear, lucky cohort 13. You may not feel lucky, but with the clarity of hindsight, you will be one of the most memorable cohorts to us, not just because you were the last to enter the Business Masters before, have a drink, COVID, but because you were an exceptional class in so many ways, regardless of the time you were with us. One enduring memory of your class was that of the grand finale of the simulation, when the CEO of the winning team invited the team leader of the company they had acquired to share the glory of the moment, recognizing, as many of you may recall, the importance of subsidiary companies to the success of the so-called parent companies. This simple act was actually a profound symbol of a cohort that valued collective gains and not just individual performance. That is just one special memory from my class, but I often heard other teachers talk about how much they enjoyed working with your cohort. And we will no doubt hear many of your stories and memories from your experiences together as we hear about those tonight, and hopefully those stories will remain with you forever. Now, you may all recall the first story I told you in my 7-11 class about a boy who enters the deep, dark woods looking for something dangerous to do. When he and his dog reach the middle of the woods, he finds a pond where a hand pulls his dog under the water. And the boy doesn't run away, and he doesn't get afraid. He just says, "This must be the place." The lesson from that story was that in order to grow, we each must seek out challenges. We must enter the woods, so to speak, where we are not sure of the outcome. And when threats arise, we must confront them in order to grow. We don't run away. Looking back, I hope you have found at least one challenge in this program, if not many. And it is our wish that for years to come, you look back on your experience here and say, that was the place. That was the place I met friends I will keep in touch with for the rest of my life. That was the place I pushed myself to keep going, even when the going got tough, really tough. That was the place where I learned to let go of elements of my former life that no longer served me well, where I let go of the shy nature of my youth to become a more confident adult, where I learned to raise my hand, not to give a better answer, but to ask a better question. We live in uncertain times, and the less certainty there is, the more we seem to reward the pretense of certainty. Our resumes look like we know what we're doing and can do it all. The problem is that the world is not that certain. No matter how smart and driven or even rich we are, we still live in a world characterized by ambiguity and uncertainty. Being human, of course, we try to make our best sense of what's going on around us. The primary models of success many of us have inherited or absorbed from our family, educational, and cultural background are biased toward intellect and natural ability, coupled with discipline and tenacity, leading to steady upward progress and ultimately success and happiness. The ladder of success metaphor, however, it permeates and persists in society, even though it is increasingly difficult to realize. In its worst case scenarios, the pressure to perform from family and friends often becomes insurmountable, leading to all kinds of counterproductive and destructive behaviors. I actually believe that most of us are wandering through life, and as such, being lost some of the time or taking our time to find our way is not a failure. It is simply part of the process of learning. And even if we aren't learning, at least we're living an interesting life. Wandering, seeking adventure, and exploring options are not cop-outs from the rigors of success. They are the foundations of knowing who you are and what you really want to do in your life. Even more importantly, they teach you about life itself. As you leave this program, you've got a lot to deal with. You've got a career you want to develop, and you've got a world that is in chaos and disorder. You've got uncertainty about how and where you might end up if you stay in New Zealand, or if, when, and how you might leave. You may be thinking, now what? The good news is what we've got to deal with doesn't have to define what we are or who we become. There's a popular expression that signifies faith and trust in someone's ability to cope with whatever they are facing. The expression is, you've got this. You've got an advanced degree from a reputable institution that signifies your intellectual capability and your personal tenacity to accomplish difficult challenges. And hopefully, you've got an appetite for lifelong learning. You've got powerful learning experiences that will give you the confidence to take on real-world problems, even in challenging circumstances. You've got this incredible group of peers and friends who will keep their faith in you and support you no matter what life brings you. And so I leave you with our statement of faith in you individually and as a class. No matter how strange the world becomes, you've made it through one of the strangest years in history. No matter what challenges present themselves to you in the future, we know you've got this. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of your evening.